Hello and welcome to In the Court of the Wenton Knave, doing all this King Crimson. We've got two live in Guildford. This is the final Jamie Muir album we're going to do. There is stuff available on the Larks box after this, but this is the last soundboard, sadly. And we're still before the album, so Larks, Tongues and Aspic hasn't happened yet. That's actually 73 that happened. He actually stayed until February 73, and E.G. told the band, oh, he sprained his ankle so he can't do the next gig. But he'd actually read Autobiography of a Yogi. That's got a lot to answer for, that book, and continues the tradition of E.G. lying to the band, like with the Earthbound tour, about, well, you know, you have to tour. Why? Why do they lie? It doesn't make any sense. It's like they must. It must be a secret. You know, they see the sort of Fripp's loyalty to them as, it's a weakness, we must exploit it and get him. Makes no sense. How does it help them? It doesn't help them at all. Idiots. But I mean, you know, Jamie Muir had been in bands for many years. He was part of the sort of jazz scene, the free jazz scene, the real far out stuff, and it was normal in jazz. It's normal that you play with different people. You know, to quote Bill Bruford, this idea that you mingle blood, become blood brothers, and tour and become hugely successful, and then retire to grow vegetables. It's not a musical thing. It's a rock star endeavour, isn't it? For a musician, you want to play with lots of different people. That's what you want to do. Not stick with the same people your whole life. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a shame that there wasn't more recorded before he left, but we have got a bit, although supposedly wasn't recorded properly. We got the album, but then the album isn't exactly sonically good enough. And you know, although it's so wonderful to the listeners, often listeners forget that our experience isn't the same as the experience of the musicians, which might be a really rubbish, miserable touring experience. We go to one concert and it's just like, oh my god, it's so amazing. Why would they split up when it's so amazing? And it's not timeless when you're doing it yourself. If it is timeless when you're doing it yourself, it's not timeless, in truth. That's just the way music works, you know. Obviously musicians are inspired by doing great stuff, though, obviously. I mean, in the same way, you know, Yes fans don't understand why Bill left Yes, and they're still, years later, well, he's bitter. Because he has a sort of bitter expression on his face while he's playing the drums. It's because he's bitter because he left Yes. He's permanently, for the rest of his life. But, you know, you look at it objectively, from his perspective, he'd gone as far as he'd go. He'd never been in another band. Close to the Edge was a pain to make. They'd reached that moment. He knew to have to go through that again would be a nightmare. He was right. Tales from Topographic Oceans, I like it, it's great. You know, but that was it. You know, there's great albums after that. There's Relay, but Close to the Edge was the moment. Was his thing, the moment. And his playing would have got worse. You know, what Fripp calls it, you know, dying slowly. He wouldn't have moved forward as a musician. He got as far as he could with that. And of course, what Yes were doing were not jazz. And when they started, of course, Bill thought they were a jazz band. He was kind of tricked. And the jazz was in there and it slowly disappeared. So there's no jazz in Close to the Edge, not really. But Jamie Muir is an actual jazz drummer who'd been in the jazz scene, so obviously Bill's going to be drawn to that. So in that sense, you know, Bill was hired as the rock half, and Jamie Muir is the jazz half of Michael Giles. That was the argument, that Fripp was thinking, well, how can he do the Michael Giles thing? Last time he just got a good drummer and it was alright, but it wasn't really King Crimson. So to get two drummers, obviously you do that Michael Giles thing, but more, even more. Now of course there's three drummers, so it's even more than that. So Bill comes from, you know, being extremely precise on Close to the Edge, which of course now isn't a Bill Bruford thing. Bill Bruford and precision isn't what you associate with it. You associate this fantastic sound and extreme creativity of interesting, listenable drumming. The problem is, once Jamie Muir left, it unbalanced the band. You know, and it was a carefully constructed group of people that was balanced. And so Jamie Muir left. What happened was you had the rhythm section, you had a guitarist and you had a violin player, and what that meant was everything became unbalanced. And what came out of that was amazing and unique. But it wasn't sustainable, if you like. The flying brick wall, as Fripp called it, of the rhythm section, just bludgeoning their way through everyone. Fripp could, because he's got an electric guitar, he can play on top of that just about, he can survive. But the argument is David Cross often got pushed out in the cold. Having said that, I do think his contributions to all this stuff are absolutely valuable, absolutely invaluable. You know, maybe at this point there's a subtlety. In some ways the improvisations are much less subtle, because it's less heavy. Maybe subtle is the wrong word. It's a cacophony rather than a bludgeoning. Later on it was bludgeoning, it was metal. Basically, this is not metal. red is metal. It is a shame about the sound on it. It's proper recording. It's only one tape. You can tell because it cuts in just as Larks Tongues gets going and ends with Exiles. And there's a lot of distortion, sadly, because this is it for me. This is the Muir one for me. I don't know whether people don't generally agree with that, but this is the closest representation of it. Now, of course, the thing is, I don't actually know. I wasn't there. I wasn't even born when it was actually happening. So my love of it comes from the recordings of it, which is a different thing. And the band were very hard to record. Another Fripp quote is, "You can't take the process home with you." We want to, though, especially if you weren't born. But really, what I'm taking home with me is something else. Actually, it's not actually the actual live concert. It's this recording of it. I like that one. You know, I saw King Crimson in 2015, which were very different things. So for me, this is the one. This is the Jamie Muir one. First track is Larks Tongues in Aspic Part 1. It cuts in suddenly, I imagine, so they could get enough as they could on the tape. But it worked very well actually, because it's, you know, rather than the slow build up. Completely mental, loads of distortion. They're going completely crazy. Fantastic stuff. It's funny how much energy there is here that isn't on the Beat Club version. As well recorded as that is, this is far more exciting. So in my mind, this is the closest one. Track 2, Book of Saturday, but still called Daily Games. And here it does actually say Daily Games. It looks like they didn't really change it till the album by this point. There's no drumming on this one. And track 3 is an improvisation. It's called All That Glitters Is Not Nail Polish. No idea about the title. It's nothing like, there's nothing in there that's like Stairway to Heaven. Maybe there's some reference to maybe Jamie Muir had got something ridiculous painted on his fingers and it wasn't nail polish paint or something. Who knows? It's not explained. Doesn't matter. This is another long improvisation. I think this one is 25 minutes. I think it's striking how important David Cross is to the music, and that's understated. Every time people talk about this lineup, they talk about, well, David Cross got forced out and he didn't fit and all this. But the violin is so important to this sound. It makes such a difference to just being a rhythm section and guitar and the occasional mellotron. They wouldn't be the same. They've already got more intense in a way, but at the same time, this is very similar to Tapestry of Life. Obviously, it's the big cacophony intro at the start and everything, and then they get into a groove, and then, you know, they hadn't yet really developed the improvisation where it was completely different each time they did it. The We'll Let You Know riff is in there somewhere, so it turns out the We'll Let You Know riff was a thing. Maybe it was a written thing, maybe it was just something that just came out naturally. But there it is, definitely. We'll Let You Know. Last track, sadly, rather than having no concert, is Exiles. And like I said, Exiles was generally very similar. What if they found the rest of the concert? What if there's just one tape and then someone says, oh, I've got another tape? That's such a shame. But yeah, that's it. That's the one. Thanks to Jamie Muir. See you next week for Starless and Bible Black.